So with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 releasing in about 2 months from now, I think it's the perfect time to talk about one of the most underrated and hated characters that might be coming to JJS. Now, who is this mysterious character, you might be asking yourself? Well, it's Mr. Green Aura himself, Naoya Zenin.
Oh! Ew! Dude!
Okay, hear me out. This bum has one of the coolest curse techniques in all of JJK. Basically, Naoya's curse technique, Projection Sorcery, lets him turn 1 second into 24 individual frames. And within that second, he can execute a precise set of movements at incredible speeds, making it look like he's teleporting or moving instantaneously. I mean, just look at this clip from the JJK Season 3 trailer. Flo is literally just speed blitzing you like he's the Flash. Also, did I mention that anything that he touches while the technique is active has to follow the 24 frame rate rule? If they don't, they're gonna freeze in place for 1 second. Like, come on, ref, he's literally cheating. Anyways, it took me about 2 days of brainstorming and testing to put together Naoya's full moveset in JJS. I'll be showing it off in this video, but quick heads up, there's going to be some minor spoilers from the JJK manga. But guys, don't worry, I'll blur out or cut any of the other characters' faces out, except Naoya's, of course. With that out of the way, let's dive into his base moveset first. So, we got the Naoya moveset right over there. But before I continue, I want to shout out the homie Trey. He helped me actually make this in the skill builder for about 2 hours straight, so please give some love to him in the comments. But anyway, I put a lot of thought into how this moveset would work and how to keep it balanced. But as you guys can see, we've got 4 different base moves, and I've also tried to make them as accurate to the manga as possible. Also, you guys could ignore the 5th move, I'll explain that later in the video, but it does something very special. But anyway, let's move somewhere so I can showcase to you guys what we cooked up. So, his first move is named 24 Frame Flurry, and I based it off of this specific manga panel right here. Honestly, this is probably the most accurate looking move that we made for his whole moveset, but I mean, look at this. It's almost identical to the manga. Alright, I think it's about time to explain why there's a 5th move. If you're already in the fighting games, you probably know what GB stands for, but if not, it means guard break. Basically, this move is a variant of the 24 frame flurry, and it's based on Naoya's curse technique, where if he touches you, you freeze for 1 second. It's like he turns you into a single animation frame that can shatter for massive damage if he breaks it. I made it so this only works when the opponent is blocking, of course, and honestly, I think it's pretty close to how it plays out in the manga. We can now move on to Naoya's second move in his arsenal, Dropkick. In the manga, this move came out really quick and heavy, so I tried to bring that into JJS, but you know, it didn't work exactly how I wanted it to, but I think it came out pretty decent, and it still fits into his character in the manga, so I think I did well. Alright, moving on to a more obviously named move, we have Backstab. This is actually an original move I came up with, since Naoya doesn't really use a knife in the manga. However, there is a panel of him holding one, and according to the JJK wiki, he mentions that he doesn't like to use it openly and only uses it for sneak attacks. So with that in mind, I designed this move to only work when you're behind the opponent or when the opponent is ragdolled on the ground. You'll see why that positioning matters when I explain the 4th move, since both of them kind of tie into each other. And on that note, let's actually get into that 4th move. Okay, so our 4th move is 24 Frame Blitz. This move is a counter move that teleports you behind the opponent. It can only counter moves that are not projectiles. And also you guys can see why this move goes with Backstab, because it teleports you behind them and stuns them for about 1 second. So you can easily use Backstab or do some M1s or something like that for a good combo. But yeah, I based it off of this image from the manga, but honestly, it's not 100% accurate since he doesn't teleport behind them, but he teleports away. So I think it's pretty good for his character, and it really fits in with his moves. Alright, before moving on to Naoya's Awakening, I want to mention that I did come up with something for his R special, but the problem is that it's not really possible to code it into the game because the current skill builder that we have does not allow for that, so Tease, please update it. But anyway, I just came up with the idea for using Charles for this, since his R special makes that after image, and that is exactly what Naoya's moveset looks like whenever he uses Projection Sorcery. But anyway, I wanted to make this R special something that makes the opponent slower and then makes the Naoya user faster, right? So have it so that you hit them and then you can activate the ability within like 5 seconds, right? Making them walk slower, their movement speed be slower. and maybe their hit speed be slower, but I don't know if that should be a thing because that might be just too OP. But the Naoya user would also be faster, right? So we might not make the hit speed faster, but the movement speed will definitely be faster, making it a lot easier to chase down these opponents that want to run everywhere across the map. You know, I think that would be a good addition to the game, but you know, it might be too OP and Tease might have to tweak it. So I'm not 100% sure on this, but you guys can leave a comment below. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to Naoya's Awakening. Now, I have to explain something about Naoya's ultimate, and it's the fact that he transforms into something else, kind of like how you transform in the Maharaga whenever you use the Megami ability. But basically, you would transform into this, right? And I don't know how Tease would do this, but, you know, he could probably figure something out, or just keep it as the normal character and then give them, you know, special moves or something. But yeah, we're going to go into the first move that we did make, which is Acceleration Mode. I based this move on a panel where Naoya is moving so fast that the wind literally twists into a tornado around him. I did try to capture that same feeling in game, you know, the sense of speed and motion, but it wasn't easy since Tease doesn't really allow you to make custom animations like that. So we just ended up basically using Mahito's tornado move that he uses in one of his ultimate moves. But yeah, I think it came out decently, but we could have did better. The next move in his Awakening that we're going to cover is Full Throttle. This move is based off of this manga panel. Now, I definitely made up some details for this since this is actually him taking off to do the acceleration mode move, but I made it so that this move is like a speed blitz forward where you hit them as hard as possible with your body, because that is what he would do if he was the Cursed Spirit. We are finally at the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery, a domain expansion. And in the manga, his domain expansion happened after he transformed back into a human, which makes no sense. But anyway, yeah, he turns into a human, and then in his domain expansion, it explains that if you move any singular cell in your body, it has to follow the 24 frame rate rule. So basically, if you move in his domain, you just take damage instantly, and it's not an insta-kill, but if you move too fast, you basically get insta-killed, right? So I tried making this in JJS, but it was really hard to actually make it so that if you're moving, it does it. So I just had to do a constant tick damage. But basically, you guys get the concept, right? If you're moving in the domain, you'll take more damage. So if you wanted to dodge Naoya's moves, you have to move in the domain, meaning you take a lot of damage. And of course, whenever Tease adds this to the game himself, it's going to look a lot better than my version of the domain expansion and also work a lot better too. But yeah, I think that Naoya is definitely a big contender for a character to add to JJS just because he's very unique in his moveset, right? And also, I'm going to be submitting this to the JJS Discord server in the suggestions channel. So guys, please go ahead and go star that up so we can get this added to the game. I'd also like to ask you guys to subscribe and like, please, because this video took a long time. But anyways, thank you guys for watching.